Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission is always to take your sources, this complex and often extraordinary material, and give you the knowledge you need.
Complete with all the surprising details and, the essential context.
And today we're doing a deep dive into source material that comes from decades of really specialized hypnotic regression work.
Yeah.
It presents this incredible, cohesive global narrative of a multidimensional intervention.
What we're unpacking is, it's a grand scale operation. We're talking about a planetary dimensional shift and these tens of thousands of highly evolved souls who have volunteered to incarnate here.
Right. And they're here specifically to help Earth raise its energetic vibration and avoid a path towards self-destruction.
Exactly.
So the central premise, and this may resonate really deeply with you, the listener, is this. If you've spent your life feeling, fundamentally out of place, you'd be profoundly lonely.
Or like you arrived here on an assignment, not by accident.
Yes. You may very well be one of these three waves of volunteers. You might have come from other dimensions, other planets, or maybe even directly from the source itself.
With a mission to assist humanity.
And it's so important we talk about how this information was gathered. This isn't just someone's theory, right?
Not at all. This is not channeled material or some philosophical idea. The sources come from a very unique hypnotic technique that targets the deepest possible trance state, the somnambulistic level.
A state so profound that the conscious, the critical mind is just, it's completely bypassed.
Right. And that allows for direct communication with the individual subconscious, or SC.
Which the material also calls the higher self, or the source of all knowledge for that soul. And it's described as this infinitely loving, completely non-judgmental being.
And it possesses total recall. Every lifetime, every intention, and your individual purpose. It's the ultimate guide. It knows exactly why you're here.
So it's like a knowledge shortcut, accessing the most accurate database available for the human experience.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so let's unpack the mission briefing, starting with these souls. The SE calls them the volunteers. What really defines them? How are they so different from, the rest of us processing Earth karma?
Well, the sources are very consistent on this. They're often first-timers to a dense physical human body.
So they've been light beings or energy forms.
Exactly. Or lived on spaceships or entirely different vibrational planes. And their core difference, the thing that makes the mission even possible, is that they come with a kind of spiritual shield, a covering over their souls.
A protective sheath against karma.
Precisely. Because if they were to accumulate karma, they would immediately get sucked into Earth's, ceaseless cycle of death and rebirth.
And that would derail the whole mission.
It would end it for them. Because they arrive karma-free, they're free to pursue their primary mission, which is just holding a high frequency.
And the sources are clear about the urgency here. This isn't some casual thing. They tried this before, and it failed.
That's right. The scale of the current effort is a direct response to that failed attempt, where just too few souls answer the call. The motivation is, pretty grim. The risk of Earth's self-destruction is critical.
Because humanity's technology has outpaced its heart.
Far beyond the evolution of its heart. And when you combine that kind of immense power with a fundamental lack of love and compassion, well, self-destruction is almost inevitable.
But the tide is turning because of these tens of thousands of souls.
The balance has finally tipped. The higher beings are now confident. We're past the point of no return, but in a good way.
It's an unprecedented intervention. And to get why it's needed, we have to look at the human experiment itself. The sources say Earth is kind of a special case in the universe.
And a difficult one. It's the only planet that somehow manages to forget its connection with God or Source. Every other civilization operates with full conscious awareness of their origin.
And that forgetting makes everything so much harder for the volunteers. Which leads to this fundamental problem with Earth's origins. The plan was for a perfect human being, right?
Right. One that wouldn't get sick, would only die when they chose to. But the experiment was spoiled very early on. The SC sessions talk about a clear interference. A biological bacteria was introduced, maybe from a meteorite, they speculate, and it corrupted the DNA. The perfect blueprint was marred.
So the Cosmic Council had a choice. Scrap it all or let it continue.
And they chose to let it continue, flawed as it was. So this early DNA corruption explains why sickness and decay are just so foundational to the human experience, and why these first-timers struggle so much.
Which brings us to their biggest challenge, adjusting to the physical body. It's described as thick and heavy.
Extremely dense. For a soul that's used to being pure light, the transition is brutal.
The amnesia is a shock, But the physical density is the pain. We
Yeah.
see this in the case files where diseases are just direct manifestations of spiritual resistance. Let's talk about Hope.
Yes, Hope's case. She developed both leukemia and throat tumors. And when her SC was accessed, the answer was just stark. Her soul didn't want to be here.
She was afraid.
Profoundly afraid. It was tied to unconscious memories of being tortured and killed in a past life for speaking her spiritual truths. And that stored trauma, that inability to speak, it calcified into physical disease.
So what was the resolution? This is where the SE's power is just fascinating.
It is. It works with energy and intent. Once Hope acknowledged the trauma and let go of that ancient fear, the SC described what it did to the tumor. It said the growth was instantly cracked in half like a walnut.
Wow, not a slow recovery, just an energetic correction.
Exactly. The dense resistance was shattered and released.
That's incredible. And we see a similar thing with Sally, who was gridlocked with fear and uncertainty.
Sally was storing fear at a cellular level, causing blockages all over her body. Her SC gave her a very specific instruction. She needed to mentally choose the crystalline-charged river of life to flow through her system.
So she had to consciously choose to flesh out that density.
The physical repair depended on that conscious choice. It's all connected.
Speaking of connections, the sources also get into extraterrestrial interactions. This is a topic that's so misunderstood.
Very. The SC explains that the original creator beings, they're not malicious. They're monitoring their flawed experiment, where their children,
And the implants people report.
often beneficial. The SC described one small implant in a finger, and its purpose was to monitor and balance health, specifically blood oxygenation, because Earth is so heavy it constantly stresses the body.
So why do people report these terrifying abduction experiences?
The fear comes from the human conscious mind trying to process a non-3D event. They're taken aboard ships to test how their bodies are reacting to Earth's pollutants, the food, the air.
And they sometimes fix things?
They undo damage they observe, those little triangle-shaped marks people wake up with, just instrumentation from these diagnostic tests. They're trying to help.
So they're trying to fix the problems
Yeah.
from that original DNA corruption.
That's the link. And then this monitoring is escalating because, according to the sources, the clock is ticking. Global warming and other changes are moving much, much faster than our science suggests. The correction is no longer optional.
And this acceleration brings us to what's called the Great Separation. As the planet's frequency increases, every single soul has to make a choice.
Evolve and match that rising frequency or stay behind?
And this shift, it's not a cataclysm, it's not a disaster movie.
No, it's a dimensional expansion. This is critical. The current 3D reality will still exist, but those who ascend will become fully conscious of a higher frequency, simultaneous existence, the new Earth.
They'll feel a difference in resonance and clarity.
And this change will require a physical transformation.
What do the SCs say about the new physical body?
It will become significantly lighter. The sources suggest these bodies will look taller, more elongated, slimmer, and the most provocative claim is that they could become more transparent as they integrate more light. Age becomes an illusion. Life expectancy increases dramatically because the body is no longer fighting that original genetic flaw.
So what happens to those who can't adapt? Or who choose not to?
They'll be left behind. They will continue to live out their experiences on the denser old Earth or maybe another similar planet. And the interesting thing is, they likely won't even know anything major has happened.
It's a splitting of realities.
A splitting of timelines based on vibration.
And this huge cosmic project comes right back down to the individual choices you make every single moment. This is where we get to manifesting your reality.
This is the practical application. The SC is very clear. What you focus on expands. It talks about your reality as an energy ball of possibility. Every thought is a strand of energy you weave into that ball.
You can't just ignore negative thoughts. You have to actively manage that energy.
You have to. If a negative thought comes in, you must immediately replace it with a positive one, or you weaken the whole structure of the reality you're trying to create. It's constant energy management.
And to get off that karmic wheel and ascend, the SC says there are two essential things that everyone has to release. What are they?
First and foremost, fear. The SC is adamant. Fear is the strongest human emotion, but it is entirely an illusion created by the 3D world. It must be released or it will anchor you to the old Earth frequency.
Okay, that's number one. What's the second?
Greed, domination, and materialism. On the new Earth, money and material things will lose their meaning. Those who work for love and service will be provided for. The need to work just for survival, that has to be consciously let go of.
That takes incredible will. Our entire world is built around those things. Which brings us to the ultimate lesson. What do you do once you become aware of your own free will?
Right. And we look at the case of Randy. His SC told him directly that he had reached a point where there was no more knowledge, no more insight that is required. The learning phase was over.
So the challenge wasn't intellectual anymore. It was about action.
It was. The only thing left was the hardest step, to express that free will by setting a positive, defined intention to create his reality. Knowing you can choose is one thing. Actually choosing and acting on it, that's the real work.
And that ties right back to the volunteers. For you, the listener, your mission might not be this huge, dramatic thing. It might simply be to be, to hold your high vibration.
Creating heaven on earth inside yourself, that's what spreads the light and helps shift the entire planet.
So we'll leave you with this final provocative thought, and this comes directly from the sources.
The SC suggests that the current physical body you're in, this heavy, sometimes painful vessel, is merely a holographic image.
And if the real light body that is you is safely asleep and being monitored on a ship somewhere, just waiting for this assignment to end.
What temporary burden are you carrying right now in this physical life? That heavy guilt, that chronic worry, that intense ambition that you can safely choose to see as part of the illusion and just let go of right now.
Think about what it means to be simply light.